Have you ever just stopped and wondered if God still speaks to people today? I mean, in a world that's so loud and full of distractions, how would an infinite being even get a message through to us? Well, today we're going to explore a really powerful idea. The role of a living prophet is God's voice on earth.
Now, right up front, it's important for you to know that this whole discussion is presented through the lens of the doctrines from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
You know, the entire foundation for this topic really rests on this one powerful verse from the Old Testament. It sets up a crystal clear divine pattern. God isn't going to make a major move without first revealing his plan to his chosen servants, the prophets. It's not just a nice idea, it's framed as the fundamental way God operates with his children.
So, what exactly is a prophet in this context? Well, to put it simply, a prophet is someone who is specifically called by God to be his official representative, the one authorized to speak his words and act with his authority right here on earth.
Okay, let's start with the core principle here. This idea that God has always wanted to communicate with us. This is not some new thing, it's an eternal pattern.
The calling of a prophet is seen as one of the most profound expressions of God's love. By giving them what's called the priesthood, which is his power and authority delegated to man, he establishes a direct line for communication, for guidance, and when needed, for warnings. The whole system is designed to make sure we're never left completely in the dark.
And if you look back through the scriptures, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. See, God doesn't just call a prophet once and call it good. This has happened again and again and again throughout history.
This timeline illustrates that pattern perfectly. You start with Adam, who got the gospel directly. Then you have Noah, called to warn a world that had gone completely off the rails. After that, Abraham, who received incredible promises that would bless all nations. And of course, Moses, called to lead Israel and lay down God's law. Each of these periods is known as a dispensation, a time when a prophet held the keys to act for God on earth.
But what happens when people reject the prophet? Well, that leads to a state called apostasy. And this isn't just a simple disagreement, it's a large-scale falling away from the truth, which ultimately results in God withdrawing his priesthood authority from the earth.
So here's the crucial cycle we see throughout history. God reveals his truth through a prophet, people are blessed by it, but then, over time, they or their kids or their grandkids reject the prophet and his teachings. And that rejection leads to apostasy and the loss of that direct divine authority.
Now let's see how this pattern really came to a head during what's called the Meridian of Time. That's the era when Jesus Christ himself came and established his church on the earth.
The way Christ set up his church wasn't random at all. As this scripture explains so clearly, it was built on a very specific foundation, apostles and prophets, with Jesus Christ as the chief cornerstone. That foundation was absolutely essential for the church's stability and to keep that divine direction flowing.
So after Christ's death and resurrection, his apostles carried on, leading the church. But one by one, as they were killed off, that foundational authority was lost. Think of it like a building. If you remove the foundation, what happens? The structure can't stand. Without living prophets and apostles to receive revelation, the church fell into what's known as the Great Apostasy, and that priesthood authority was once again taken from the earth.
The loss of that foundation created a massive void. What was needed wasn't just a repair job or a renovation, but a complete and total restoration of everything that had been lost.
And the restoration of all things began with this single, incredible event. A young man named Joseph Smith, confused by all the different religious claims of his day, went into the woods to pray and ask God which church was true. In response, God the Father and his Son, Jesus Christ, are said to have appeared to him. That moment kicked off the whole process of restoring that original foundation. A new prophet had just been called.
Now this slide makes a really critical distinction. You have the Reformation, where incredibly sincere people tried to fix or reform doctrines they felt had been changed over time. But the Restoration is something different. It's taught as a complete reestablishment of Christ's original church from the ground up, with its foundation of apostles and prophets and that all-important priesthood authority to act in God's name.
So all of that brings us right here to the present day. What is the role of a living prophet in the restored church of Jesus Christ?
Well, it's actually a role with many different facets. A prophet is first and foremost a special witness of Jesus Christ. He's an inspired teacher of truth and the person who holds and directs all the priesthood authority on earth. He's also a revelator, meaning he reveals God's will for us right now. And he's also what's called a seer.
Let's zero in on that last role for a second. A seer is a bit more than a prophet.
A seer can see things that are hidden from a worldly view. Through a special gift from God, a seer can understand the past, see into the future, and bring to light things that are secret or hidden, giving us a perspective we just can't get anywhere else.
And it's crucial to understand that this authority isn't just with one single person. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles are all considered prophets, seers, and revelators. They work together in councils to seek out and understand the Lord's will.
So, why does all of this matter to you and me? What's the bottom line? It's this: our greatest safety and our deepest peace, in a world that often feels short on both, are found when we follow the word of the Lord that He gives us through His prophets.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most important point. How does this ancient pattern of prophets giving guidance actually apply to our lives today?
I mean, just think about it for a second. We are absolutely bombarded every single day with competing voices, different opinions, and conflicting messages, all shouting for our attention. In all of that noise, where can we possibly find real, solid clarity?
The doctrine provides a very direct, very powerful answer to that question. The Lord Himself says that when it comes down to it, there is no difference between His own voice and the voice of His chosen servants. When they speak with inspiration, their words are His will, His mind, and His voice for us.
And so, we'll just leave you with this to think about. In a world of uncertainty, facing whatever personal challenges you're going through, how can this divine guidance from a living prophet become a true anchor in your life?